The most important movement in the game of bowling is the push away, the first step in the push away in a 4-step delivery. The reason being is that it sets up your timing for your arm swing and your release, so that if it's not in time, everything else is going to be out of kilter. Now remember your proper distance from the foul line. For me, it's just a little bit past the 12-foot mark here on the approach. I'm about 9 inches back, but remember, my left foot is on the center dot so that my right shoulder is lined up with my second arrow strike target. Now the mistake that many amateurs make, instead of pushing the ball away in the correct time, they get nervous and they just start walking like this and don't push the ball away. You can't push it away, swing it, and get it all through unless you push the ball away at the correct time. The second mistake I see a lot of amateurs make, instead of getting the ball out, as I'll show you in 1 second, they just drop it down here like that. See how it pulls on your shoulder and pulls you out of position? The proper way for the 4-step delivery is to push the ball out and the leg extend out at the exact same time. Watch this. I push the ball out. As the arm hits the apex of the swing, of the push away, the foot is extended all the way out. Let me go through that again. Push the ball out with the right foot, and they should extend out and meet at the exact same time, holding the left hand still underneath the ball until we go into the second part. Now, a lot of you will say to me, "Hey, Bo, I see all the pros using 5-step delivery." Well, I'll show you why, and I'll show you how you can move into the 5-step delivery after a few months and a few games of basic 4-step delivery. To do the 5-step delivery, just back up another 12 to 14 inches on the approach. In a 5-step delivery, all it does is allow you to have a little more momentum to the foul line and a little more speed control on the bowling ball. And if you watch me, the 5-step delivery is really not much different than the 4-step delivery. You set up the same here, and you walk with your first step naturally being your left foot instead of your right foot. And all this does is give you a little momentum. Watch how the left foot goes out, and now I'm right back into my 4-step delivery. Okay, I'll go through that one more time. For the 5-step delivery, back up an extra foot or so on the approach. Left foot first, and that gets the body movement. Don't bend the shoulders, then push out and lock that arm out at the apex of the push away. When you take your second step, you also initiate your downswing. We'll go through it again. We've set up here on the approach with the left foot in the center dot. We've also made that first step, that push away with the ball extended. Now becomes a very, very important part of the game. Pushing that ball away is fine, but now you have to let it go. Release that left hand. Let that arm swing freely by your side, but we're not going to forget that left hand right away. Let that left hand come off the ball. Let that arm stay by your side as you're going into your second step. Now here's the position you should be in. You don't want your arm away from your body. You want it down there for leverage and control. That arm swing should be right next to your body on the downswing. Now your left hand comes back into play. If I let my left hand go way up in the air here or way forward like this, you can turn your shoulder or drop your shoulder. Let that left hand and arm work for you. If you'll hold that left hand and arm parallel with your shoulders, you'll pull your shoulder up. Look, if I have my shoulder dropped here, my arm's away from my body, pull the left hand down, watch how it pulls that right shoulder up in the correct position and keeps that arm close to your body. Another thing, keep those fingers behind the ball and that wrist firm in this position. Here's a problem that most of you women have. As you initiate that downswing from the push away, you allow that wrist to flop like that. Keep that wrist firm and that ball centered in the palm of your hand all the way through the downswing. Here is the correct position for the downswing. Left arm parallel with the shoulders, right arm right next to your body, and hand underneath the ball. The third element of the approach is the backswing. We've been through the first element, the push away, the second element, the downswing, and here's the third element, and that's the backswing, your third step. Now, there's a lot of mistakes that are made in the third step and the backswing by pros and amateurs alike. Number one, they get their shoulders too far forward. They're down in here because then they're going to release the ball into the floor on the next step. Number two, they let that left arm get forward. Hold that left arm back in the proper position. And here's a mistake that a lot of them make. They're coming into the backswing. Here we go. They're up here. Allow that arm to go at a natural height. I recommend somewhere around shoulder level. Let it come back in here, but don't let that hand move left or right. Keep that hand without movement at the top of the swing. Now you notice this towel underneath my arm. Your arm should be close enough to your body at all times to support a towel or something on your arm and it doesn't fall out. Don't allow that arm to wander where the towel would fall out in here. Keep it underneath, keep it locked in. Now another important element and a little trick that all the pros use is keep that index finger behind the ball. This is a reminder not to turn your hand on the backswing or flop that wrist down into a weak position. Remember this now. Keep the hand behind the ball and let the arm swing go to a natural height. And now we come to the critical point in any bowling shot, the explosion point, the point of no return, the point where you release the ball, the pivot step into the release and the follow through. Remember, we went out on 1, down on 2, back on 3. Now let's stop it here before we go into the release. We're back here on 3. We remember to keep that shoulders level, keep that left arm out, keep that chin up. Don't let your head get down here where you're throwing the ball down into the approach. It kills the shot. Keep that hand behind the ball. Now watch the toe of my right foot. Notice how it's pointing right the direction I want it to go. As I come down and drive through into my last step, and my hand's coming right by my side, I roll up onto the tip of this toe. That's one of the reasons we said in our shoe segment that you have to have a good pair of shoes. Plain old leather tip. When you're up here, look, I'm completely off the ground at one point as I'm driving through. If you slip at this point, you have a lot of problems. And also, this is the last chance to make what we call that foul line adjustment. When you're driving through here, a good player with a good feel, he can speed his arm swing up. He can speed the ball up. So remember, when you're back here, driving down, keep that right foot underneath you, keep that weight back. Now we're into the slide and the release. As we drive into the slide with the pivot step, remember, keep that arm right close to your body. Okay, now in the point of release, we want to keep that hand underneath the ball and keep the ball in the palm of the hand all the way. Now here's the action that you should have at the point of release. You're driving through, you should have, as you initiate your slide, your arm should be right next to your body. If you're too late, you'll drop the ball on the floor. If you're too early, you'll loft it way out on the lane. So have that arm right next to your body as you initiate the slide. Now you don't want to just come to a dead halt with no slide at all. A ball should be released in the slide. All right, now the releases. We said keep that hand underneath the ball. That allows that wrist to do the action and give you the power. If you're over here, you have no power. You top the ball. If you're over here, the ball will spin and you'll go over the top of it again. Keep your hand underneath the ball all the way through the point of release. Now you have it close to your body. Now the thumb should come out around 12 o'clock. If you had a clock, this would be 12 o'clock. Let that thumb come out there. Now the natural rotation of the fingers will be around the ball. That's where you get the hook ball. You don't want the thumb to come out at 12 o'clock here and have the fingers come straight through the shot. You want them to rotate naturally around the ball. Watch my hand. I'm holding pressure on it. And as soon as I relax it, it rotates around the ball. That's just the human nature. If you put your hand in that position at the point of release, you'll get the perfect release and the perfect roll. Thumb will come out at 12. The fingers will rotate from 6 around to 3 o'clock. That's the perfect release for the good semi-roller. And now we have our follow-through. Sure, you've come here to here. Now, here's a critical point. A lot of people try to steer the ball. All of a sudden, their elbow comes out like that. Invariably, you don't get the lift. The ball has not come off the hand before you start initiating that elbow bend, and the ball slides by. There's not enough power. A second mistake that pros and amateurs alike make is they come through here, they're lifting the ball off the hand, and all of a sudden, they fan the ball to the right. What this does is puts a spin on the ball to make it hook too quickly, and it goes left of their target. The key thing to a follow-through is to allow your hand to rotate naturally around the ball, but you don't have to turn your elbow. Watch what happens to my elbow. As I come around the ball, the hand rotates, but watch the upper part of my arm. It doesn't rotate at all. I can completely turn that ball without moving my elbow. So remember this. As you come through, allow the hand to rotate. Keep the elbow in line with the target, especially the inside of your elbow. Follow through to shoulder high.